gonna do?
So we're going to go scout the Adventure Media Program's bikehiking route here in Ruidoso, New Mexico. So we've got about a 100-mile route to do with the class during spring break of next March, and we're just checking out the route itself just to make sure, just see what kind of shape it's in, and to determine some campsites, some spots to stop, possibly water up. We're just kind of checking on some of those things that we like to scout out before we bring the class here. We just left Ruidoso and we're about to turn off into the backcountry, but the first probably 8 to 10 miles or so of the route is actually on pavement. So that's another thing we got to take care of, is making sure that there's enough space on the side of the road for the students to ride on, just for safety purposes. Make sure that there's no construction, or maybe forecasting any construction that's coming up. So now we're on the first bit of dirt, and it's called Hale Lake Road, and it's also the first real big climb that the group is going to see. So it's basically climbing up out of the canyon that some of the waterways cut into the Ruidoso Downs Valley. It's usually a road that's in pretty good shape. I was on it just a few months back and it was completely mud. I could get about a quarter mile into it and then nothing. I mean, I stuck the car and had to back down the mountain. But right now it's in really good shape, and I'm thinking it'll stay this way even through a lot of the precipitation that we're supposed to be getting this winter, which is a lot of rain and snow. Well, these mountains are beautiful this time of year. The green's gone, but the light sits so low in the sky, and it creates all these really neat shadows. This is a tough part of this first climb, but once people get to this point and they start making these switchbacks up, they start realizing, like, the valley they came out of, they see Sierra Blanca in the back. It's pretty neat. So if that body of water would stay wet during the winter, then maybe some of it will be available for us come March. But it's highly unlikely that it will. It'll probably either evaporate, or the livestock and the wildlife around here will come and drink it. But that's a perfect example of a water source that is just there that we could filter out of if we needed to along the way. All right, so now we're headed up Co Canyon Road, which this is the start of the second kind of significant climb of the first section of the route we're going to ride it. And it's oh man, it's so beautiful out there. That light looks great. It's just a nice, easier climb than the Hale Lake Road climb right off the highway. But it does start to get a little rougher, and we start getting more and more into the forest. So the vegetation changes a little bit. So we're actually just climbing in elevation as we're ascending into a transitional ecosystem, if you will. So we start getting more and more out of the junipers and more into the pines. One of the things that I really like about this route is that whenever you get up out of Co Canyon and you pop up out on the the more maintained road and you're about to head back down to Glen Cove, you get a pretty great sighting of the Capitan Wilderness. seen it covered in snow on a camping trip out here. I've seen it enshrouded in fog. Seen it clear. The Capitan Wilderness is a really neat looking small mountain range. That's I think it kind of brightens your mood and your overall emotional state whenever you're out here and you're climbing up into these mountains. You're a little bit drained, and then whenever you get to see the Capitan Wilderness, you're like, that's pretty cool. This was worth it. So this is really the end of the first section, or the first kind of geographical section of the route that we're going to ride. And the reason I like to say that this is nearing the end of the first section is because we get through Coe Canyon and we drop down into Glen Coe with the Capitan Wilderness like straight ahead of us. This is a really neat descent into Glen Coe. It can be a little treacherous at times. It's really fast sometimes, but that's where we, again, geographically begin to ascend back into the second section and get into that Fort Stanton area and up on the high desert mesa area. So right after this descent, we hit the highway for just a second, and then we start climbing in Devil's Canyon. This descent can be pretty sketchy if you're not paying attention on the bicycle.